Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome everybody out this evening. We are met as a city council in the capacity of a public hearing for a proposed property tax increase. The city is not adopting the proposed tax rate today. That will take place at the City Hall meeting on August 25th. This meeting is just to allow public comment. The only actions taken from us tonight will be to be very good listeners and try to understand. This meeting was notified in the city's newsletter, on our website, and social media, the state's public notice website, and by text and emails to residents who subscribe to the city's AF Notify system. Comments will be allowed both in person and online via Teams link that can be found on our website at americanfork.gov. The meeting will go as follows. Our finance director and city manager will give some information about the proposed property tax rate, following which we will take public comment. So thank you for being up front, Anna, and we'll turn the time over to you.
As you stated, this meeting is for the purpose of...
You want to turn on your mic?
Hearing
Anna?
comments regarding the proposed...
Can you turn on your mic just for...
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, let me start over. As stated, the purpose of this meeting is to hear comments regarding the proposed tax increase. As Mayor said, the option is available to participate virtually as required by legislation, as the link could be found on the city's website. We are required to, anytime we talk about a property tax increase, mention the property tax impact schedule, which states the purpose for the increase being to partially staff a new fire station. The amount of the proposed increase would be a general fund revenue of $660,000, and David will talk a little bit more about the purpose of that. Another document that was sent out is a notice of proposed tax increase to American Fork City. This states the amount of the increase per year, which is $33.41. This is $2.78 a month. It's an 8.48 increase to the city property tax and approximately a 1.4% increase on the total tax bill. The third document that I want to mention, and all of these are available on the table back here and on the city's website. The third document is the Utah County Notice of Property Tax Increase, which states every entity in the county which is proposing a tax increase. The only other entity affected by the residents and businesses of American Fork is Central Utah Water Conservancy. They're having their public hearing on August 25th. Alpine School District is not proposing a property tax increase this year. Again, all documents are available in this room or on the city's website. And that's all I have to present.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate your time. Thank you for allowing staff and residents to come before you and present information and share their thoughts and concerns regarding this tax increase. Over the last 30 years, American Fork has raised taxes two other times, once in 2008, once in 2021. So now the proposal is before you to consider an 8.7% tax increase, which Anna has stated would be approximately $2.78 a month, or $33 a year. Tonight you will hear from residents and business owners. These represent members of our community which are affected by any change in municipal tax. Although tonight's agenda does not include a back and forth dialogue, information presented to the council may help us better understand information presented tonight. I wanted to just briefly start with describing the certified tax rate. So in Utah, the certified tax rate is the property tax calculated each year for a local entity to generally allow it to collect the same amount of property tax that it did, that it has budgeted the prior year. So your The revenue to the city stays the same. That's the intent of the certified tax rate. So in simple terms, if your property values rise, the certified tax rate generally decreases so that it brings in the same dollar to the entity as it did the prior year. And also, if the property values fall, the certified tax rate will increase, again, bringing in the same dollar to the entity. There is an exception there. Additional taxable value can be generated due to new construction or new growth. So as the city expands, there are additional taxes generated. The rate, the certified tax rate, is applied to the taxable value, not your full value, not the full market value. So in Utah, a primary residence, will receive a 45% exemption. So 55% of its market value is taxable. So what would cause a city to consider a tax increase? And there's several items. I've come up with a few. Number one is inflationary pressures. Inflation affects our residents. It affects our business owners, but it also affects the city. Inflation for the past 5 years has been approximately 21% or 4.2% annually, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This peaked in 2022. That's one issue. Region-wide growth. Our city growth in the past 5 years has been approximately 23%, or an average of 4.2% annually, also peaking in 2022. Saratoga Springs grew at 62.8%, Eagle Mountain grew at 53%, Lehigh grew at 26%. All of these cities have outpaced American Fork. The average for Utah was only 8.2%. What that means is American Fork, we are in the epicenter of growth in Utah, and quite frankly, the country. Saratoga and Eagle Mountain are at the top of the list for growth in the entire country. What this means is we are competing for resources like employees, contractors, materials. We're in competition with all of our neighbors who are needing the exact same resources that we need. And as we all know, if there's a limited supply and a high demand, the costs will increase. And that has affected us in American Fork. Another reason a city may consider a tax increase is if there's an increase in services. So I want to talk a little bit about the budget process. Starting in February, the City Council met to discuss the budget. We start with a zero-based budgeting method where we don't carry forward anything in individual line items to the next year. We start with a fresh slate, a fresh, clean slate, and we base that budget on priorities. A fire station on the lake side of the city was a top priority as identified in our meetings starting in February. Public safety is critical to our city and to our residents. The city has considered adding another station on 620 South. We're in the process of acquiring a property with a home that will be converted into a fire station. This will be Fire Station 5-3. It is a temporary fire station. That fire station will need manpower. The fire station will have three shifts. Each shift has 4 people. We need 12 firefighters to man that station around the clock. The budget includes 9 new firefighters. We would be taking a couple of firefighters from the other stations to the new station to fill the 12 slots needed. The budget only includes 9 firefighters. The personnel costs are approximately $1.5 million annually. The property tax proposed at 8.7% would generate $660,000. So where is the remainder of the $840,000 coming from? Well, that is where we look at the existing budget. Each department received a haircut in operations, a budget cut of some kind, in order for us to generate that $840,000. We are not asking for the full amount to fund the firefighters. We are asking for $660,000. Recently in Eagle Mountain, I read a report, and they raised property taxes substantially more than American Fork is proposing. I think it ended up at 183%. A resident said, quote, "If we as citizens are tightening our belts and we're deciding what we have to cut out of our lives, so must the city." We believe in the same principle. That does apply to our city as well. While we could not make up the full cost for an increase in our public safety service and achieve or reduce the additional pressures due to growth and the inflationary pressures, we did absorb in our current budget over half of the dollars needed for the new fire station. And I want to commend our city staff and Anna, the mayor, the city council, for working hard to get it to this point. It's been a challenge. And again, our budget is based on priorities, and safety is the number one priority that has been considered while we add this new fire station on 620 South. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, David. All right, before we ask anyone to come forward, I'm going to just, I could lay out a few rules of conduct. We ask that your comments be respectful and courteous. We ask that you not use profanity or vulgar language, as this is a public meeting where people of all ages can hear. Public comments will be 2 minutes per person. We will have a time and notify you when your time is up. We ask that you stay on topic. This meeting is specifically regarding the proposed property tax rate. If residents wish to talk about other items, they are encouraged to attend a regular city council meeting and comment during that public comment period. You may be asked to sit down, or your microphone will be cut off if you do not follow these parameters. Finally, we ask that you state your name and if you are a resident or business owner in American Fork before you begin. We ask that those online to turn on their microphones and cameras when given public comment. With that said, we are here all evening if you need it. So we're going to ask you to just come forward one by one, and we just want to hear what you have to say. And there is no limit. We could be here 2 hours, and that's okay. So if you just, why don't you just, yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah.
Are you going to follow the order?
I don't have.
People that came and signed in?
Do I have that sheet?
There are a couple of them out there.
Because I certainly can. But you're there. We won't make you go back
All right,
down,
thank you.
okay?
So I wanted to comment on a different topic, and what date would that be to do that?
That would be any other regular city council meeting.
But just not tonight?
25th,
All right.
that would be, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I do have lists. So I'm going to start with this one, but we're not limited. If you didn't sign up, we're going to get to you. So I'm going to start with Ryan Walker. Thank you, Ryan. Even though I say your name, will you please state it for the public record, and if you're a business owner or resident?
My name is Ryan Walker. I am a resident. I live off of 300 North and 200 West, and my family and I have lived here for several years now. Best city we've ever lived in. I'm just saying that, so we're going to be here for a while. I have 2 little kids that were born here, and we just absolutely love it. That being said, I do want to throw out my lot. I am completely against the tax raise. Every year we've been here, I have noticed my bills go up every year. Not even every year, but every other month sometimes. My utility bill will keep going up. Property taxes, we just saw a huge increase with the school district increase. So as I look at the spending that our city is doing and the inflation and how it's out-competing, raises that being my friends and my neighbors have gotten, I think that our spending is getting out of control, and I hope that we are, being judicious in our spending. One thing I noted is that, wages of city's employees, and I'm sure it's a touchy subject, but, they've gone up about 10% year over year, and I'm in the wrong business, man. I need to work for the city because I have not gotten a 10% raise year over year on average. And I understand that, like, we have great people that work here, and I respect them and what they do, but I just don't think it's, I don't think it's sustainable at the rate that we're giving people raises. On average, in the private sector, raises are between 3 and 5% a year. And if we're scared of losing someone, you know, we have great talent here, but we might need to let them go if you know, a few bucks is worth that much more to them. So I think the people that we want to keep are the ones that are more invested in our city and the people around them than, you know, a couple extra bucks. So, okay, well, thank you very much, and thank you guys for all your time and your service, all you do.
Okay. Aaron Booker.
Give me a second to finish this, and you'll see how this is tax-related. My name is Aaron Booker. I do not live in American Fork. In May of this year, I was stopped on Interstate 15, 1 hour north, near the city of Bountiful, by American Fork police officer Bronson Kitchen. Under the false guise of an HOV violation, the real intent of the stop was to be an off-the-books intimidation ploy. He wore no body cam. There was no call to dispatch. From the moment Officer Kitchen approached my car, the encounter escalated unnecessarily. He immediately resorted to threats of violence when I declined to comply with his unlawful order. When it became clear that his presence commanded neither fear or intimidation, Officer Kitchen then refused to complete the purpose of the stop, despite my numerous requests for a citation so I could handle it in court. This exceeded the lawful scope of an already questionable unlawful stop. After the encounter, I filed a complaint with AFPD. Days later, the recording of the stop went viral. Shortly after, Officer Kitchen then called me and delivered a clearly coerced and forced apology. Regardless, I accepted it and moved on, until I obtained the police report. Keep in mind that the report was written days after the apology. It contained statements that, based on video evidence, are categorically false and directly contradict his own admission in his apology. Let me remind everyone that Officer Kitchen serves as the school resource officer entrusted with regular access to children as young as 12 to 14. It is indefensible to allow this officer to continue serving as an SRO, retaining someone who is now on the Brady list because he simply can't tell the truth. Retaining him in a position of authority over children amongst the most vulnerable members of the community who have little ability to protect themselves is a gross act of negligence by the city of American Fork. Your inactions speak volumes. It signals your willingness to tolerate abusive authority. Since the city refuses to act voluntarily, then outside legal action will force you to change. I will help motivate you with this reality via a civil rights litigation utilizing the same attorney as Mr. Benjamin Snyder and others.
Yes.
Okay. Well, now, Mr. Barnes, Kevin Barnes.
You don't have to call me mister. I'm not that old. First of all, don't start the clock yet. Thanks for serving. I've been there, done that. I know what it takes. And some of us really appreciate it. And appreciate you putting up with people on this side while you're on that side. Okay, start the clock. First comment. You should have put the admin building to a city vote. There's no reason to spend $40 million without going to the public, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say about that. Property tax increase. When I got my notice, I was expecting it, and it went up $35. Now, yes, I'm old, and I am retired, by the way. And I've got lots of time on my hands, and I can't afford $35 a year. This is not about the dollar amount. It is about the problem, the concept, and what is going on. I was on that side the last time we had a property tax increase, and we had a lot of discussion that we should not do major tax increases. And it was kind of informally agreed, and I think 3 of you were on here. I know 2 of you were, but I think 3 of you were on here at the time. It was kind of agreed that we would do more frequent increases, and smaller amounts. As we were talking about that prior increase, I visited with a lot of people in the community, and every single one of them that had an opinion on it said, yes, do them more often and do smaller ones. They don't like the big ones. I think that message was heard loud and clear, at least by me, and I think that's the attitude that should go forward. I'm not on the council. I don't have a vote on it. Bottom line to this is, I think you ought to keep the increase to about 4%. I really do. I think 4%, you ought to figure out a way to build it into the budget and do another 4% next year, and then another 4% the year after if you have to. Rather than a larger increase, do smaller ones more often. And thank you very much for your time, and thank you for serving.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. We'll now move on to Chris Chamberlain.
My name is Chris Chamberlain. I am a resident of American Fork. I built a home here 40 years ago. I moved into it this month 40 years ago. As you talk about the minimal amount of property tax, my property tax is more now than what my original house payment was. And as I go back across the board, so as you talk about the small increases that take place, they may be small increases, but they are huge. And I guess what I would really ask is, it seems like it seems to be a propensity. As I go back through that, the property taxes in the last 10 years have doubled. And you're on a limited fixed income, and you're trying to keep it that way, but you're pricing it out. You're pricing it so that no resident can stay here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, Kelly Stone.
Oh, I'm just watching.
Oh, well, you're on here.
I thought I was supposed to sign in.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Daniel Soroka.
I'm an accountant, and that's a little known thing about me, and so I love numbers. And so I know that to raise $502,000 of taxes, $502,000 of taxes for the city, it increases the resident property tax by $33.41 per resident. I also know that lawsuits are expensive, and we just learned of another lawsuit potentially today. And that costs lawyer fees, that costs settlement fees, and that's very, very expensive. And there are a number of ongoing lawsuits and future lawsuits that are going to outcome. And on the minor end of that, that's going to be at least $50 per resident. Why do the residents have to pay for that? Why are the residents the ones being held accountable when the city does not uphold our constitutional rights? Because that's who ends up paying for all of that. So if the settlements, just the settlements cost $725,000, that's not including the lawyer fees, that's $50 per resident because of the city's incapability of upholding our Constitution. That's not small numbers. And when you add in the lawyer fees, when you add in extra costs, it balloons. And it comes out of our pockets, out of our children's fun, out of our children's mouths. And for what purpose? To protect people breaking the law? I think police misconduct is part of the budget and is part of taxes. Thank you.
Heidi Barban? Heidi, you here? Sorry, I have my readers.
No.
Did I say it right?
I thought that I was just signing in as well, but I
Okay.
guess I'll say a little something too. I didn't know that this was just about taxes either, but I am one more voice just that is concerned about the things we've been seeing about our police force. I also had a kind of a weird incident years ago of a swatting situation, and there definitely just with my situation and things I've been seeing online, which we don't see everything online and we don't see a lot of the positive, but there did seem to be some lack of, I don't know if it's education or knowledge, just with possibilities, going on with my situation. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I did see a video of some footage from Post. That's the police, oh my gosh, what is it? Standards and training that trains our police officers. I'm wanting to see some more just improvement, just sharing my voice on that. There was a quote from a trainer teaching the police officers. He said something like, how many brothers and sisters do you have here? You care less about them than a mental subject, talking about officer safety, which is really important. But I think that there was a lack, and I want to learn more about this. I don't know a lot yet about putting victims first, and then police officer safety, and then subjects. I have a friend who worked as a cop in Texas for I don't know how many years, and he said that that should be a really important emphasis. And as far as just the training that's been released online that I've been able to witness, it doesn't look like it's being emphasized properly. I don't know who would take care of that, but I do want to just say that that's something that is concerning. And I guess I'll just leave it at that, but thank you very much for having me.
All right, John Mulholland. John Mulholland? I'm going to just ask, we'll see where it goes. We don't need claps, we don't need cheers. Let's just.
Are we allowed to, are we not allowed to?
I'm asking you not to, okay? So, John.
Yeah, I've been a resident here for, I think, 16 years now. I've interviewed all of you for my little website. I appreciate you guys being willing to serve. I am concerned about stewardship here with property tax increases. I believe the city recently signed a big deal with Centricom, who had left a cable taped to my street and running through my yard for over 6 months. I've tried to get the city to help, and maybe in a couple months something will get done with that. But it doesn't seem responsible to work with that company. I'm hearing about lawsuits. I wrote a piece recently asking for a citizen review board because what we're hearing from the police is very different than what we're actually seeing on video. I'm concerned about that and the cost of lawsuits. And then the guys just put up a big curb extension by my house that is going to be a hazard for bikes. I don't know where that money came from and how much that cost. But, you guys, I appreciate the work you do, but I'm concerned about, some of these expenses that I'm seeing, and then you asking for the residents for more money. Thank you.
All right, I'm having a hard time. Is it T-A-N or T-O-N?
John Tingy?
I don't see that as a John, but is there a John Tingy here?
Tom, I just signed it, I don't.
Tom, okay. All right, Julie Rodriguez.
I wrote it down this time, make it a little easier. Hello, my name is Julie Rodriguez. Thank you for this opportunity, for allowing me to speak as an American citizen. I am grateful to be here exercising my rights to speak up. I am a resident of Utah County, and I frequent the city of American Fork for business and pleasure. I am just here to say that we have still not seen a positive change in accountability and transparency in the American Fork Police Department. I am still disappointed, and as much as I love and support the police department, they have helped me so much, police across this state, as much as I love our Constitution, as much as I love the state of Utah, of which I've been a resident for over 30 years, I am very disappointed. I do not trust this department. I do not trust this city, and I would love to know what it would take to get an interview with the mayor of this city to find out what are we doing and what's going to be going on. And And if we could sit down and talk together about that outside of all this, I promise there will be no clapping. I'd love to make that happen, and I think it would help a lot of people ease some of these concerns and worries that are ongoing.
I would ask you to leave your personal information.
I will do that, absolutely.
Give it to our recorder.
Who is your recorder? Okay. I will do that. Thank you so much for your time. God bless America.
Thank you. All right, Greg Hazard.
Mayor, Council, my name is Greg Hazard, and I've shared with you that I have been the victim of 2 incidents of American Fork Police Department. One in which I was issued a criminal trespass in retaliation for simply inquiring of an officer parked in a handicap stall in a non-emergency situation, committing a misdemeanor, and refused to take ownership that made me victim of a crime I did not commit. Second, when I called American Fork Police to have a trespasser that blocked my front entrance to my office with their car and refused to move. I was called an A-word by one of the police officers. And even worse, this American Fork police officer said he would traumatize me. Who says that? What officer says that? He's going to traumatize me. Both of you, all of you here, recall as a result, I received apology letters and ownership from Chief Paul on behalf of the police department in American Fork City. All of this that I have on body cam. I shared how I was victimized with you 2 months ago, and only Councilman Ryan Hunter reached out to me and ensured that I was satisfied with the outcome of the cases. I expected a little more communication. In June, when Councilman Ryan Hunter spoke of outside emails and threats on him and his family, I reached out to him by text immediately during the meeting and apologized for the behavior of others. Let me be clear to all the people that may be listening, as we're getting thousands of people listening to these meetings. There is no room for threats on anyone, any officer, any council member, the mayor. There's no room for any of that at any time.
Your name and if you are a resident or a business owner of American Fork.
My name's Klein Long. I'm an American Fork citizen. And property tax are forcing seniors out of their homes. And I hope you realize that that's happening. It's the only tax that you have to pay every year no matter how much you're making. You're retired, you don't have a 30% increase in your money coming in, but yet I have to pay more taxes in the last 5 years by 30%. And I imagine most people have had their homes increase in value by 30%. It would have been 40% if I hadn't gone to the county last year and argued with them that my house wasn't really worth what they were claiming it was worth. The other problem I have is your figures seem to be all wrong. The county claims that you get 12.79% of the money paid to property tax from American Fork. You're saying that you get the same amount every month whether it goes up or down. So you got to make an argument with the county. Do you get the 12.79% or not? I should have got involved with the budget because of this, I started looking at the budget. I don't pay much attention to what's going on in the city. I should have. $660,000, you claim that's going to go to 4 firemen. 660,000 divided by 4 is $165,000 per person. I don't think that's the right wage for anybody. You claim that the average household income, we have 11,516 households, and the average household income is kind of warped a little bit, 98,878, which is about 50,000 per 2 people, because I assume that each household has at least 2. Your numbers are kind of messed up. Most of your employees, what it shows for wages and benefits, and then I divide by the number of people, they're all making close to 100,000 each. So something's really screwed up here in the city as far as I'm concerned. There's just way too much money being spent. The budget from last year to this year, I show it went up $67 million. Is that right? I showed last year's budget was 143 million, and now it's 210 million. That's what's on the budget, and that's $67 million.
Hi, my name is Tara Lee Bennett. I'm a resident of American Fork. I've lived here before, and I bought a home 18 months ago, but prior to that, I lived on the very west end of 200 South. So I understand the growth that's gone on in the south part of the city. I also have a brother who has a very medically fragile child, and I have seen the benefits of having public safety close by to be able to respond in a medical emergency. So I am in favor of the property tax increase. I think that the reason for it is justified. There is a lot, I don't know how many people, I just know that there are a lot of new homes, and there's a lot of development that's gone on the south side of the town, and I really think that we need this. So I just wanted to voice that I'm in favor.
Okay.
Do we have any online?
You know what, I'm just going to see if there's anybody else in the chambers that would like to come forward.
Sign in, I was the first one here.
Yeah.
Another sign-up sheet.
No, you're fine, we're going to take them in, whoever's here.
All right, Steve Goodwin here. I don't know if you guys remember the American Fork Citizen. I was the press when I printed it from 1980 to 2005. Now we went internet, so. Anyway, I'm just a concerned citizen, want to know what's going on with the police department. Is there going to be like a meeting to have these officers tell us residents what's going on, or are they going to be accountable for anything? Because from what I see, it's an embarrassment. For right now, I leave the state and go to different places. They ask where I'm from. I say American Fork, and all of a sudden, I get told what's going on with the legal situation. I don't even say that anymore. I just say Provo Orem. Just a concerned person. Thanks.
Jeez, I hate that walk. Good evening. My name is Curtis Graham. I live in the more historic part of American Fork. As a resident of the city, I acknowledge, just like everyone else here, the necessity of taxes in order to maintain city infrastructure. It makes sense. We're behind that. However, I'm also reminded of the wisdom of Benjamin Franklin, who said to be cautious of the small expenses. A small leak will sink a mighty ship. And the comments that were made earlier by the emeritus city councilman of making small incremental tax increases, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. They will have to be made. I guess I'm opposed to the quantity of those small increases. The gentleman at the beginning of the meeting indicated that a great deal of deliberation was made regarding this tax increase, and that may be the case. I don't want to throw anyone here under the bus by saying that this was a rash decision. I don't think that was. However, I believe that insufficient information has been provided in order to verify that due diligence was done on behalf of the city. The city residents are being asked to put a great amount of trust in the city that they've done their due diligence, but at the same time, I haven't seen enough robust material to provide a rationale for that. I'd request the following. First, a more robust explanation of the budgetary cuts that were mentioned. If we're trimming the budget off of other parts of the city budget in order to make this work and ramp costs down, what are those cuts? And if we're already making those cuts, can we not simply increase those slightly more in order to reach a more equitable tax increase below 10%? Second, greater clarity on the wages of the proposed firefighters. Another gentleman just barely mentioned, I think it was 160. I don't know if that's an accurate number of the wage of the firefighters, but I would like to know these added firefighters that are being included as part of this tax increase, what are their wages? And is the city in agreement on what we're paying these firefighters? And of course, I mirror some of the comments of our fellow citizens. We are concerned about the police. I'm concerned about flock cameras. I don't know if the city has a policy on that, but more important than that, I'd like to request, is it possible for us to bring back the original comment section in the city website for providing feedback? because the system got changed and I don't know what happened or why it got changed, but if there's concerns about the sidewalk or overgrown weeds, I don't know where to put that information in, and I never get feedback regarding any input.
If you could leave your name, we can get that to you.
Certainly, thank you.
There's sheets back here, Talon.
No, we just want to write this.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody else here that would like to make a public comment?
Rob Shelton, resident and own multiple businesses here in the city. One of those businesses is a financial planning firm, and if I was going to bring a visual aid in that, I'd bring a jar, rocks, stones, and sand. And I have some real heartburn with the communication within the city. When you say use zero-based budgeting and say that you're putting the first priorities in, but the last thing to make it in is public safety, that doesn't jive. I look at the budget and the increases of what was happening between last year and this year, and there's a lot of sand being put in before the rocks are being put in, but we treat these firemen as political pawns to say that will get public support. Otherwise, why in the world are we hiring a communications person, an admin assistant, $240,000 for economic development ahead of public safety? I think there was a big fumble in the communications with the residents this year. And I hope it can be done different next year. I know this is the first year you have to have the public impact statement and say, hey, this is why we're raising property taxes. But if we're going to do zero-based budgeting, and we're saying the biggest things make it in first, and we say public safety is the biggest thing in first, put it in the jar. So the residents can be informed to be able to debate economic development, communication positions, other part-time positions. But to do that the way that it has been done, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it very much feels that it's not being honest and truthful with the residents to say that you're making it a priority to put the most important things in, and it's the firemen that we already are planning on buying a home. It just doesn't make any sense on the financial planning side of it. So please, next year, take a look at that. Put the rocks, the stones, and the sand in and make that statement if we ever get back to this place of raising taxes again. Let's be honest with the public about what we're actually raising the taxes for from one year to the next. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the chambers that would like to make public comment?
One thing that I've been wondering a little bit
Yeah, you
about.
know what, you didn't take up your whole 2 minutes. You've got a good minute left, Chris.
I got a good minute left. One thing that I guess I've really been wondering is they've talked about the pay of these new firefighters. One of the things that's been very interesting to me is you go to the Art Dye Park and you'll see all of the fire trucks there and they're playing pickleball. And I'm wondering if there's some way, while they're not working, I don't know how many fires we have in American Fork in the course of a year, but whether or not there could be a dual usage as to their time to offset, to work through that budget.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. Anybody in this chambers that would like to make public comment, I'd like to move it to online, but I want to make sure everybody here has that on. Okay. Tim?
We're going to have you online. People joined and then they left.
There's nobody online? Okay. All right. Well, seeing none, then I'm going to say that this public hearing is closed and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.